Hello, my name is Anthony Noonan and I'm working for Eco Home Tech, and today we're going to show you how to purge a ground loop system on a ground source heat pump. Primarily when we're coming to do a commissioning on a heat pump system, which this particular one is a DeLonghi model, and as you can see we're in a very tight plant room at the moment, so I'm having to creak my neck. But you look at the installation as a whole, and basically you're just checking that all the necessary valves, which this one is for actually purging the ground loop, which is a multi-fill 520, that valve's in the right position, and then all the necessary valves on the heating side are actually in the right position, and all the correct flexible hoses also. You've got the tach and overflow meter, which is what we use for actually checking flow rates to make sure we're working correctly. Strainers correctly fitted, and the same on the ground side, and correctly fitted and installed expansions and discharge pipes. So from this point we're actually going to show the purge pump working and connecting the pipes up. From actually connecting the pipework up now, we can actually fill our container or our equipment up to actually start the purging process, and hopefully they will have installed a filling loop point so we can actually do this very easily. So I will proceed to start filling the system up, and I will go down to the valve. We've basically backfilled our purge pump, so there's water in the pump now, and also from the filling loop we can actually fill our kit up. As you can see, we've had a bit of air in the system, so now I'm basically allowing the water to backfill our equipment. As we have now finished filling the container up, we've closed all our valves off, and we've actually closed the water coming to the unit and the valve, ready to go open the pipework in the field, which we will show you next. This is the ground loop manifold. It is an item produced by Franke in Germany, and this is a 4-port manifold, which we have 4 times 200 meter loops out in the field here. This, typically on a ground source system, you use a chamber and the manifolds are mounted underground. Well, in this particular instance the client wanted it above ground because he's building a stone wall and he's actually going to encase this area around the manifold just for ease of maintenance more than anything, so it's above ground. This is sat under about 4 or 5 bar of pressure at the moment. It's isolated on the headers which go off to the back to the heat pump system, and with it being above ground there are actually mechanical couplings as well. Should ideally use mechanical couplings either above ground or in a chamber where you've got access to them. If not, it is good practice to use electrofusion couplings, but in this instance we're fine. So what I'm going to do is just drain a bit of the pressure off out of the system until we're at a static pressure, so we're not going to backfill our purge pump and kit inside the house. Right, now we have equalised the pressure in the system, we can open the valves into the header pipework, which is going back and connecting to the purge pump and our bucket in the actual plant room. And then what we're going to do, we're going to isolate 3 of the loops. Which there are your 3 pairs, and we're going to leave 1 open to actually purge this one part of the system, because we want to be able to get the full pressure and flow through 1 loop at a time to get rid of any air and debris out of the system, which is how you purge basically a typical ground source system. So on that note, we'll get back to the plant room. Now we've successfully purged the ground loop system, we've got to add the antifreeze into the system now. Effectively I've got 4 200 meter loops of 40mm pipe, which means we've got approximately 800 litres of water in the system. We've got 10 25 litre tubs of antifreeze, so what we're going to do, we're going to introduce just over 2 tubs per loop system. And as we're adding the antifreeze into the purging process, we're actually adding the antifreeze and we're going to discharge the clear water away from the system. So as we start pouring the neat antifreeze in, we're actually still bringing water around the system also. We've got, with this particular system, we've got approximately 5 minutes before the antifreeze starts coming back. So as our water level rises, we actually shut down, we can open our valve to discharge the water to outside, so we don't end up with too much fluid in our container. We are going to get the antifreeze in relatively quickly on this for the training purposes, but then as you switch over to the next loop, you basically want to time the system so you've almost got the correct amount of antifreeze in per loop, so it's mixed effectively. Now we have actually successfully finished purging our system. I'm happy we've got rid of all the air and the antifreeze is mixed in accordingly. We can now test the integrity and the percentage of antifreeze in the system by using a spectrometer. This will tell us if we've basically got enough antifreeze in the system. All we do, we take the actual unit with the pipette provided. We take a sample of the actual water, that is a pre-mixed antifreeze, place it on the actual spectrometer. At this point, when we view down the actual machine, we can actually see the amount of antifreeze. As I can see from this test, we have actually got protection down to -16. So in this particular instance, I'm quite happy with the successful purging of a ground source system. We have finally purged the system, everything's back together. We've actually got a buffer tank full of hot water now, and the system is up and running. The only thing that the installer needs to do on this installation is insulate the ground loop pipework now to stop any condensation. Apart from that, we've got a good heat pump. If anybody would like any further information on the topics we've covered today, if you'd like to give us a ring on the number below, we'd be only too happy to help with any questions. Thank you and goodbye.